There's a special kind of stress that hits you when you become a new dad. It's not just the lack of sleep, the mountain of diapers, or the tantrums. It's this weird feeling like your own identity is just fading away. The person you were, your hobbies, your passions, your dreams, all those quiet moments to yourself, they get buried under this avalanche of new responsibilities. My life, which used to be mine, is now in service of this tiny, stubborn, hilarious, and totally wonderful human. You can feel like a side character in your own story, and I never ever would have guessed that my lifeline would turn out to be a 15-year-old video game about dragons. So today, I want to talk about why solo gaming can be a lifeline for busy dads. Before our kids arrive, life usually has a rhythm to it. The relationships we maintain, the career ladders we're trying to climb, our hobbies, our goals and dreams. When you become a parent for the first time, that rhythm shatters, but you also gain something so profound. The moment my son was born, I was handed a new identity, Dad, or Dada, as he likes to say. And it was a role that gave me a sense of purpose I didn't know my life was missing. It felt essential, powerful. It felt like it was something I'd been missing. But the paradox though, that new identity was also completely all-encompassing. It was so big and important that it can threaten to erase everything else you've been prior. The pressure to be the perfect parent is immense. Your own needs start to feel selfish. Taking an hour or two for yourself feels like a huge indulgence when there are bottles to be washed or baby food that needs to be prepared. When we don't get the time to rest, we can start to feel irritable and sometimes distant. The pure joy was mostly overshadowed by just being exhausted and honestly a quiet sense of grief for the person I used to be. My head was in a fog. I was losing myself and I didn't have the energy to find my way back. And this is what many new parents don't talk about. It's beautiful, but it can also be a profoundly lonely experience when your whole world turns upside down. I don't think it's something new parents really talk about. We're expected to turn up with max energy every time our child needs us, and if we don't, we question if we were good parents. I think over a period of time, it can manifest in irritability and the feeling of being distant. And while we get so much joy from seeing our little ones grow and learn new things, I found myself, there were times that I'd almost miss who I was before. And look, I don't want to come across as ungrateful here. Like, I'm incredibly blessed that I have a happy and healthy son, but I just want to be real. You can have the best kid and still feel everything else. So I've spoken about how my relationship with gaming changed after becoming a parent. The short version, I thought I should stop wasting time gaming, even though it had been something I'd loved doing since I was 6 years old. I think becoming a parent was only half the issue. I think the state of gaming in 2024-25 had worn me down too. Things like game passes would leave me paralyzed with what to play next. I'd often feel the games that I would choose felt incomplete. Looking at you, Scarlet and Violet, and our attention being treated as a commodity, with games wanting us to log in every day to complete dailies. It just felt like my son came at a good time and I didn't feel bad about putting my consoles away either. As can often happens in life, when difficult times emerge, we find out a lot about ourselves. And I realized I didn't want to slave away my 9 to 5 for the rest of my life. So with the little time that I had available, I started this channel. And with it, an interesting opportunity to revisit the hobby that I loved so much. So my son had just started sleeping decently through the night. And after spending time with my wonderful wife, I'd usually find that I could usually work on YouTube related things from 9 to 9:30 onwards. One of the videos I made was on MMOs, and my editor put in a clip from Elder Scrolls Online. That iconic music was literally all it took to clean up my Steam library and boot up a new file in Skyrim. That iconic opening scene started with the cart rolling through the misty forest, a scene I'd witnessed twice before, and as the world of Tamriel loaded, something inside me started to shift. The weight of new dad life, that constant buzz of my son needing me, it all started to pull back. Yes, it was just a screen and pixels and code, but it felt like a door to a room I'd completely forgotten about, and it was a room that was just for me. And this is the magic of solo gaming. Spending time alone on purpose can be incredibly good for you. Psychologists link it to things like more creativity and being able to handle your emotions better. I personally believe that solo video games is one of the best ways to get that immersive alone time. See, the world of a new parent is total chaos. It's loud, unpredictable, and completely out of control. The more you try and control it, the less control that you have. You're always reacting, never directing. But in Skyrim, I was in control. I decided where to go, what to do, who to talk to. If I wanted to spend time wandering through a forest listening to the soundtrack and watching the immense environments pass me by, I could. This wasn't just an escape. It was like taking a step back from all the stress to finally get some perspective. That feeling of autonomy is a powerful fix for the helplessness you can feel during a big life change. In my real life, I'm at the beck and call of my baby. In-game, I was the bloody Dragonborn, this powerful figure with real agency. That feeling of making choices that mattered, even in a fake world, started to bleed back into my real one. It's a nice little reminder that I'm still a person who can make decisions IRL and have an impact. On top of that, the game puts me in a state that psychologists call flow. Flow is the feeling of being so completely into what you're doing that time just melts away and you kind of just forget yourself. It's a state of deep focus that's completely refreshing. When you're in flow, your brain isn't stuck worrying or stressing. It's completely locked into a rewarding task. That mental reset has been my therapy. It was a space in my head where the worries of being a dad couldn't get in. Research has even shown that immersive games can lower stress and boost your mood, almost like mindfulness meditation. Someone like me who couldn't find the mental quiet for traditional meditation, this was a game changer. I think it's also important to mention that there are a number of ways one can get into the flow state. For example, reading, listening to music, playing music, writing poetry, the gym, the list goes on and on. Any of those are an incredible way to spend some solo time. One of the biggest things I got from gaming on my own was honestly solitude. When your whole life is about taking care of someone else, it's so easy to forget who you are outside of that job. Solo gaming gave me a space that was all mine. It was a world built for one person, where my progress, my wins, and my story were the only things that mattered. And it's not selfish, it's necessary. Open world games like Skyrim are especially great for this. They're just packed with endless things to do and discover. Every quest I finished, every skill I leveled up, every new cave I found, every bandit camp I raided, gave me a little hit of dopamine. Some people might call this a false sense of achievement, but the feeling is very real. I was exploring a huge digital world, and while I was doing it, I was rediscovering elements of myself. The character I built, the choices I made, the NPCs I helped, and those that I didn't, the paths I took, it was all an expression of me. It was a way for me to explore my own identity in a safe place where I just needed to get some reps in. It helps me remember what it felt like to have my own interests and my own goals, to be the main character again. This wasn't about running away from reality, but about giving me the sense of self I needed to turn up as a better, more self-assured father. The caveat to this, however, is that my identity as a father has become the foundation for all the other things that I want to do. So if you've seen any of my other videos, you know there's a ton of science that actually backs up my experience in gaming. Video games are being seen as a more and more powerful tool for mental health. They're not just a mindless distraction, they can be active, engaging processes that can have some real serious therapeutic benefits. Getting lost in gameplay helps manage your mood by pulling your focus away from negative thoughts. In fact, many surveys show that big majority of players, often over 60%, report that gaming helps them reduce their stress and anxiety. For a lot of people, it's a way to work through tough emotions like grief or fear in a place with no real-world consequences. It's a controlled environment where you can practice being resilient. I mean, facing a tough boss, failing and trying again teaches you to persevere in a way you can actually use in real life. For new parents, or really anyone in a high-stress situation, the best part is how accessible solo gaming is. It's a flexible way to unwind that doesn't require you to schedule anything or coordinate with anyone. Those 30 minutes you steal while baby is napping can be a powerful self-care session, giving you the mental reset that makes you more prepared for the next challenge. As always, gaming doesn't magically solve all your problems. It doesn't make my baby sleep through the night or do the dishes for me. But what it did give me was a space to breathe. It gave me a place to find myself again, so I could be a better father and a better husband. It was the ultimate reminder that taking care of yourself isn't selfish. It's essential. Remember, you can't pour from an empty cup. And for me, solo gaming was one of the ways I learned to refill mine. We often talk about gaming as an escape, and sometimes we say it like it's a bad thing. And if it's not done in a healthy way, it can be a bad thing. What I found is that it can also be a return to yourself. A lot of games have defined us in different times in our lives. I look back so fondly at the time I spent playing The Legend of Zelda. It was a massive part of who I am. So it's almost like, why wouldn't I find solace in a place that has offered me so much comfort throughout my life? The same rule applies to people with other hobbies too. People who have loved reading growing up probably find a lot of comfort in a good book. So that's my story, why solo gaming is important. I know I'm not the only one. I love to hear what solo gaming has meant for you in your life. What did it help you with? What did it help you get through or past? Share your story in the comments because you never know who you might help. If you enjoyed this video, please consider giving this one a watch. It's about how 4 games teach us about different types of courage, and what they teach you might just surprise you. If you made it this far, you are a straight up legend. Thanks so much. It means a lot because I know how valuable your time is. Thanks again. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.